Mm, mm, come by, Lord. Come by, come by, Lord. Come by, oh Lord, oh Lord. Come by.
Good afternoon. Today is, what's today, Tuesday? June 6th. It's just about 1:30 p.m. We're here in Hilton Head, South Carolina. And I'm here with,
Gabrielle Hurd.
And Robert Smalls Jr.
and today we are interviewing the incredible Ms.
Louise Cohen.
Thank you so much for being here with us today, Ms. Cohen.
You're welcome.
Could you spell your name for us for the record?
Okay, Louise, Louise. Miller, Miller. Cohen, Cohen.
Okay, wonderful. We're so excited to be here with you today. We really appreciate your time with us. Now, and we're also here at the incredible Gullah Geechee Museum. So we wanted to talk about kind of this and its relationship to you. So could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and about the place we're at today, that we're meeting today?
Okay, ooh, you probably gonna have to stop me. Okay, tell you about myself. Okay, well, I am a native of Hilton Head Island. I'm a member of the 5th generation of my family. I have a job that I didn't apply for and I didn't volunteer for it, okay? Let me go all the way back. My mom and dad are both Native Islanders. And when I was born, they left Hilton Head Island to go live in Savannah, Georgia for a better life. Well, of course, they took their baby with them. I don't know what happened in Savannah, Georgia. I assume Savannah, Georgia did not like Louise Cohen, Louise Miller at the time. So my dad brought me back to Hilton Head Island, gave me to his older sister, Georgiana, the name that you see there, okay? So I grew up right across the road, not in that nice mobile home, but in a 5-room structure just like this, okay, from 9 months old. Mm-hmm. So I guess God had some plans for me that I didn't know about. And growing up, when people would ask me, what you want to do when you grow up? I said, I want to be a nurse. And they would ask me like, oh, well, where you want to live? I'll say, New York City. That's where I want to go, okay? But I grew up on Hilton Head Island, went to school here, attend all these churches, and on your way from Mitchellville, I'm sure you all passed First African Baptist Church by. You probably didn't realize that you passed that church by, but that is the mother Baptist church on Hilton Head Island, the oldest Baptist church. That church was established in Mitchellville, as well as the Methodist Church, Queen Chapel, was established in Mitchellville as well.
Wow.
So FAB Church, that's First African Baptist, was my family's church. So I grew up going to that church as well as the other 3 Baptist churches here on Hilton Head. So somebody mentioned, I don't know whether it was you, probably the other couple mentioned Hudson. Well, that's a seafood restaurant, okay? So one of the other churches that came out of FAB, that's why I call her the mother church, just because she got 3 daughters, okay? So Mount Calvary Baptist Church came out of her, okay? And if you go into the airport, or when you left Mitchellville, the first church you saw sitting to the left was St. James Baptist Church. That church came out of her, okay? And then if you go down Matthews Drive, there's another church called Central Oak Grove that came out of that church. So these 4 churches provide the spiritual food for us here on Hilton Head. And every Sunday, a different church would have service, okay? So the first Sunday was always St. James Baptist Church. The second Sunday, the service rotate. either Mount Calvary is having church this second Sunday. Next second Sunday will be Central Oak Grove. And of course, the fourth Sunday was Queen Chapel. But every Sunday you are in a different church, okay? When that church door is open, the other church doors are closed. That's the way it used to be. It's not like that now. Now all the church doors are open at the same time. We didn't grow up like that, okay? So if you sung in the choir at your church, when you go to the next church, you sing in the choir too, or you're usher. But that's the way it was. So we grew up here on Hilton Head, very, very close-knitted people on this island. And like I say, when something happened with one person, it's just like it happened with everybody, okay? Because that's the kind of close relationship that we have here on this island. So that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, awesome. So were you active in the church? Did you like serve?
Yes. Well, when I was growing up, at a certain age, you become a member of the church, and at age 12, okay? So that's but when I was coming up, yesterday, okay? Yesterday, you just didn't go up and give your hand to the pastor and say, I want to be a member of the church. You had to go, it was a process you had to go through. They call it praying. Some people might call it seeking, but we say praying. But that was a special time set aside. And during this time, you would go through this process. It was a very, very unique process because it's like you tell your mom, your dad, your grandmama, or granddad that you want to become a member of this church, and you had to go through this process. So then you had a day when you're going to start. Okay, so I'm going to start praying on Sunday, okay? So that means they will put a string around your head with 9 knots in it. The 9 knots represent, don't forget, okay? So if you have these dreams that you would take to tell your spiritual mom or your spiritual father, so you dream every night, and it was really, really a unique process. But it was a serious process. It was very, really. So you tell them your dream, and then on the end of this time of seeking or praying, they know when you arrive, I'll say, okay? And now you ready to join the church. But what was so amazing about that is that you either dream something about something white and pure, or you find some diamonds or something, or you brushing off ants or something off of you. But it was something very, very peculiar about those dreams. And so the spiritual mom or dad, there was people in the community with wisdom, okay? So they know if you are playing, and they say they know if you are praying, okay? So if you're playing, you bring those dreams into you, go back and pray some more, okay? But it was very, very unique. And why I say that because mostly like kids your age during that time, or in your class, you would be like the same age. Or those kids would probably be the one that would be praying along with you, during the summer. And so I remember after I got married, my husband told me that I was in his dream, and that his granddad, that was his spiritual father, okay? So he told him, she's going to be your wife. And I mean, didn't know anything about that until after we got married, but he told me that. But that's why I know that's some serious stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That is serious, yes. Yeah, but you had to go through that process.
That's amazing. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then after you've gone through this process, like First African Baptist will always have church like the 3rd Sunday in August, okay? Now that was a big day, and that was an anniversary day for First African Baptist Church, because people who went away, New York or wherever, most time people will come back for that special service for that third Sunday in August. Yeah. So, but anyway, so as you tell the dream to your spiritual mom or dad, and it depends on what church you're going to, you're going to join, they have a special time set up for baptism and for conference. So what you had to do at the end of this process, you had to tell those dreams to the deacons, okay? Like they will set up, like they call it like a conference, okay? So you would meet there at a certain time, you would tell those dreams to the deacons, and then they would set up baptism, okay? Baptism mostly was on Saturday, depends on the tide, because back then there was no pool. You had to go out there in the water. I mean, you know. So yeah, so that was the old time way. I mean, people do it a little bit different now. And that third Sunday, well, of course, that is dress up Sunday. You know, you get all dressed up to join the church. And it's mostly then when they would ask you, what do you want to do in the church? Okay. So either usher or choir. So I was a choir member. I joined the choir with a lot of the older people in the choir that really taught me a lot of the songs. So I know these songs because I grew up hearing these songs. And today I am just so happy that those songs are still in my heart, because those songs really, really have great meanings, you know? So those songs was a guide for our people. If you listen to what the song said, you know? It's like, what a friend we have in Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What a friend we have in Jesus. And back then, I mean, they would sing those songs slow with meaning. You know what I'm saying? So you might hear somebody sing it slow and with meaning. You go to another church the next Sunday, that person might speed it up a little bit and add a little bit of music to it, you know? And when I say music, that's hand clapping, because back then we didn't have no pianos and stuff. Foot stomping, hand clapping, come by here, Lord, come by here. Those kind of. So I remember those songs, I still sing them today.
Wow.
And one song that's really, really kind of got my attention for the past month or so is I'm going to trust in the Lord until I die. Did you hear? I'm going to trust in the Lord until I die. That's the song that our people sing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The song was encouragement to them. Mm-hmm. I believe I'll run on and see what the end's going to be. You know? Mm-hmm. So these songs our people sing was encouragement to them, and it kept them rooted, because our people went through so much. And that's why I really think some people don't even they didn't talk about slavery because it was too hard. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Some folks talk about it and some didn't. Because if you go to think about what they went through and some of the things that I'm hearing, mm-hmm. you know, that was done to them. For instance, so you on the plantation, massa could, and that's how we say it in Gullah, it's not master, we call him massa, okay? So massa then could point out your wife. He said, when you see the light come on, then you come to this building. Then your husband is right there, he knows what's going on. And Lord knows when she come back, Lord knows what she bring. Mm-hmm. She probably bring a child that don't look like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So this is the kind of stuff that our people had to put up with. And so they don't want to talk about, man don't want to talk about him not being able to really stop somebody from beating his son or his daughter. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or somebody can take something and beat you in front of your wife and your children. You know what that will do to a man? Mm-hmm. So our people went through a lot. A lot. You know what I'm saying? But my hats are off to them every day, you know? Is that because they went through so much and because they kept their faith strong in the Lord, they went through, you know? So that's why I do what I do, and I hope that they are happy with what is being done at the Gullah Museum here on Hilton Head Island. Wow. Will you talk about that?
Yeah, thank you so much. So you mentioned a couple songs that you thought of. What was your favorite song to sing at that time? What do you think are some of your favorite songs to sing? or some of your favorite songs. That's a little bit. It's hard to think of one favorite.
Come by your Lord.
Yeah.
That's because that's the one I sing all the time, you know. And because it's the way I heard it in the church, you know. And like I say, it depends on what kind of mood that person might be in. Sometimes you didn't even hear the song. You hear, no words, just the humming. You know what? Come by, Lord. Come by, come by, Lord. Come by, oh Lord, oh Lord. Come by. Now, you go to another church, you might hear something a little bit different, okay? So you might hear somebody that took their washboard from home, took it to church and make some music. So you might hear, oh, come by, Lord, come by, oh, come by, my Lord, come by, oh, come by, Lord, come by, oh, Lord, come by. Oh, somebody need you, Lord, come by. Oh, somebody need you, Lord, come by. Oh, somebody need you, Lord, come by. Oh, Lord, come by. Oh, Lord, come by. Oh, Lord, come by. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Woo!
Wow. That's excellent. That's amazing.
Wow, yes, sir.
Thank you so much for that.
You will hear something like that, you know,
Wow.
and it is amazing. It's amazing how people use that washboard. And when you think about your ancestors, about your great-great-grandmama who was on that plantation. She had to cook, clean master house, wash their clothes, came home and did the same thing for her family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think she was tired? But she had to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That's why it's so very, very important that we teach the children about those people who blood are running in their veins.
That's right.
They might not ever know who Big Mama and Papa them was, but we need to call their names to the children.
Right.
The children need to know, who is my great-great-great? Go back as far as you can name them, okay? Because we have to do that. If we don't do it, they don't have no clue of who they are, you know? And I think that's what's going on in the world today, okay? We forget, we don't never forget. Never, 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 never.
Yeah, touching a little bit more on that, about that family aspect, and also kind of relating it to your church upbringing. Who was the one who took you to church in your family?
Well, Mama did, and so back in the day, now Mama is my aunt that raised me from 9 months old, okay? So when my dad brought me to her, her husband, at the time, he lived probably about 2 years after that. So she was like a single mom, but God put her brother in her life, the brother that was next to her. So she's Georgiana. This house is Baba Dewey's house, okay? So if you read the sign or the brochure or whatever, Baba Dewey is my uncle, and he's next to her, okay? His name was William Simmons, just like the marker that you see right there. He had his grandfather's name, so his nickname was Dewey, okay? Growing up, you had to have respect for the elders, so you didn't call anybody by the name. If it was aunt or uncle, you had to say Aunt Mimi, Uncle Baba, whoever, okay? Or if it was a cousin, you had to say Kansuzi. And you know, speaking our Gullah Geechee language, you know, we don't say cousin. We say kan. We cut it off. You know that, right? Or we chop it off in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay? So you don't ever say cousin Ellis or cousin, you say Ellis, you know? So you had to say that. You had to address them as such. If it was no kin to you, you had to say Miss or Mr. You could not address grown folks by their name like I hear some of these people are doing today. No. They will beat and put you back in your place. And nobody's mad. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but Mama ended up taking me to church and all around to these different churches. And I remember her taking me to church with the horse and the wagon. Yeah, because that was the transportation back in the day. So as I started to say about Baba Dewey, her brother, she was almost like a mother to him because he was special, okay? He was never married. He didn't have any children. So we like took care of him. So he didn't have to cook or wash clothes or anything because we did that for him. But then we didn't have to cut wood and all that stuff or go in the woods and get wood or go in the creek and get and get fish and shrimp and stuff, 'cause he did that for us. So kind of everybody took care of each other. So so this house is Baba Dewey's house.
Wow.
Yeah.
This house behind you.
You're 93 years old.
Wow.
Yep. The only restored Gullah house on Hilton Head Island.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
This is amazing.
Yep. So when you're talking about stepping back in time,
Yeah.
we take you back 93 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was restored. It was restored in 2010. Now, I forgot to bring my notebook because I got a call on my way out the door, and I forgot it. I mean, it just threw me off. But I like this for you to see what this house looked like before it was restored. It was like going, almost gone, but.
Wow. And what did it mean to have this restored for you? This house restored? What did it mean to have this house restored for you?
Well, let me tell you. When Hilton Head became a town in 1983, they came around in our community, and there were houses like this because this was the style of house that we brought from Africa with us. It was either A-frame or that slant roof, okay? So if you look in the brochure, and make sure that everybody get a brochure before you leave, you see both style. Okay. Those houses was actually in the yard with me. And when all this godly things start happening, and 1993 is when we start celebrating the culture here on Hilton Head Island, okay? And before, we were trying to forget about the culture. And people were tearing those houses down, like getting rid of them and getting modern houses. And, that was yesterday. People trying to forget. Well, this one was in need of repairs, and it was like going down. And I remember some conversation about this house. And this was from the town of Hilton Head. Some of those council members came around with their cameras. They were taking pictures of our old houses. And then they start describing them. Substandard, dilapidated, eyesores. That's how they describe them.
Yeah.
When it got to this one, I couldn't touch the house. I didn't know why, but I couldn't touch it. And then after we start celebrating the culture, then God started revealing some things to me. And he told me that I was never to destroy anything that I grew up with. I was to preserve everything. I did not know what God had on his mind. He had this Gullah Museum on his mind. I did not know it. So I look at the house, there was a Jamaican guy living here. He said, "Oh, Miss Louise, I tear you down for you." But I couldn't touch it, okay? So anyway, when we, let's see, he was just dealing with me for 3 years. I ran from God. 3 years. You talking about Jonah ran from God? He wasn't the only one. I ran for 3 years. But God was so patient and kind. And but every time he would just say the same thing. I got to do it. Then when when it took me 3 years, but he was dealing with me within those 3 years, I had to go back and get my language, you know, because back then we didn't want to speak no Gullah and stuff. And I had this accent. I did not know that I had an accent. Okay, people would, Louise, you from Jamaica? I would just say, no, I wasn't. But I didn't know they had this accent. And, you know, they always talking about Geechees. Oh, them Geechees. And then they laugh when you talk. And Geechee talk so fast. And them Geechee like rice and all this stuff. You know, I always had the negative things, right? So anyway, but I make sure now that I spoke very distinctively, you know. I tried to not speak fast and all that, but I didn't know that I had this accent. And so anyway, I tried to run from this thing, and I was doing a pretty good job of running, I thought, you know, but then something was talking to me every day. Now I know when people say something tell me, that be God talking to you. And he told me what I was supposed to do and how I was supposed to speak my language. I was supposed to sing the songs, okay? And not only that, but those stories that I used to hear, the grown folks told us, I heard some stuff I wasn't supposed to hear. You know what I'm saying? And then I was the only child, so Mama would take me around when she went to meetings and stuff. And you know, little kids go up, drop up, and go to sleep. Well, boy, those people be telling they say jokes. Woo! They be telling some stuff. I mean, man, I heard so much that I couldn't wake up with some of the stuff. I had to keep on sleeping. So I heard a lot of the stories, right? I heard a lot of stories. But those stories, I heard them for a reason, because those stories had to be, you know, I had to keep them in my heart, because I had to tell the stories. Because, see, the stories is what our people, when they got together, they told those jokes and stuff so they could laugh and help them to go through, okay? And there was a dance, not really a dance, because the shout that the Macintosh County Shouters preserving up till today, the Macintosh County Shouters from Macintosh County, Georgia, and the Darien County Shouters, they are preserving this ring shout. This ring shout was performed in my family, okay? Now, they were Christmas time, 4th of July, whenever they got together, that's when they would do this thing. It was awesome. And back then when they were doing it, I didn't know about it. I did not know that when our people were brought here from Africa and on those plantations, they was not allowed to do their tribal dance. They could not do their tribal dance. All that foot lifting and they could not do that. So they just like, they came up with this thing. You know what I'm saying? They were human beings. So, okay, we can't do it, but we're going to do something else. So it was amazing how they came up with this shout. And it's really a shuffle. It's performed in a circle. The circle is unity. But that's how they do it, and they don't lift their feet off the ground. You got to see it. If you have not seen it done, Google the ring shout by the Macintosh County Shouters, and they call it, but it was performed in my family. But back then, they didn't tell you stand up and watch me so you can learn. So that's the time when you're going to want to learn something, right? Okay. So anyway, we would be outside playing, because, you know, it's a get-together. Okay, so then the kids are outside playing hide and go seek or whatever you want to play. But when you hear that, it was something awesome about this clapping and foot stomping because there was no carpet on the floor. It was just hardwood floor. When you hear that, it just draws you to it. I mean, ain't nowhere in the world you could be playing and all this going on. So golly, we want to see, you know. But then you're not supposed to be in there with them. So just a wonder, I didn't get cross-eyed trying to see how they were doing that thing, okay? And but that's what we did. And then when Mama would leave to go to her society meetings, me and my cousin got together, we practiced it. And we practiced it until we got it. And guess what? Mama, Daddy, grandmother, all them died not knowing that we
guys
could do
do
it.
it.
So that's why I said, if you have the children in your midst, and that could be good things and bad things now. You understand? You always talking about people criticizing, calling them names. Those kids hear you, they're gonna do the same thing, you know. But today I can carry it on because I know it. Mama used to be Georgiana that raised me, used to be the song setter. And she had something was wrong with her knee. So she couldn't get up there and shout like Daddy and them did. So she kept the beat. Okay, so today you would find the shouters have somebody to keep the beat. And that's somebody they call stick man. So stick man got a stick and he pounds on this piece of wood. That's his job. That's what so he's keeping the beat, okay? And then and the singers, they sing. Well, there is this one song that I hear them sing, and I'm familiar with that one. But there's another one. This must be one that was just sung on Hilton Head, because I've gone all around. I mean, Sapelo, Georgia, all around, and I have not heard anybody sing "Tell Aunt Tina tie that dog." And this was one that was sung here on Hilton Head. Okay, so so whenever I'm gonna do it, I have to do it all, okay? So I'll sing it, clap it, and So it would say, oh, tell Aunt Tina, tie that dog, bulldog on by. Oh, tell Aunt Tina, tie that dog, bulldog on by. Oh, Aunt Tina got a mean dog, bulldog on by. Oh, Aunt Tina got a mean dog, bulldog on by. So they would sing this, and then the other folks there, they're moving, they're shuffling. If you see it, those ladies have like long dresses on. It's almost like when you wind something up and they just move, and it's awesome. It is awesome. But see, those are the things that our people perform on the plantations, help them to go through what they had to go through. So there gotta be a time when you gotta laugh, you understand? Or it might have been somebody that they beat so bad, this almost beat the life out that person. That person probably tried to escape or something, and they're gonna teach them something, okay? So they would rally around this person and they would sing those songs. And for some reason, it's something about that shout and the song, or they're telling those stories, the joke, make the person revive, So our people had a way to do things.
Going back to what you were talking about, Gullah language preservation, we noticed on your website there was a Gullah New Testament written completely in Gullah. Would you mind talking about that? We thought that was really cool.
Yes, ma'am. Well, they did the whole New Testament in Gullah. So I make sure that I have that. That's one of the things that we sell here at the site, the Gullah. And then now that people are more comfortable speaking this language, they are, writing some books and stuff. But I'm in the process of writing my book, okay? And something that I did is the 23rd Psalms, and I do it my way because it's amazing how certain people say certain words a little bit different, and it depends on where you are, okay? So I know here on Hilton Head, the people on St. Helena Island probably speak it a little bit different, So I do it my way, and I spell it the way I sound it out, okay? So what I did and what I do at all of my presentation is the 23rd Psalms. I usually say it in, the regular King James Version, and then I translate. And I like to have my words in front of me because I don't know why, but I get so easily distracted, But because speaking my language, we don't take the time to say, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We speed through it, And because we cut off, drop letters and speaking our language, like being here in the yard, we don't say yard, okay? That's Y-A-R-D. So if I'm going to talk about where we are, I'm going to speak my language. And somebody say, Louise, where y'all at? I say, oh, we there in the yard. Okay, when people say a yad, they laugh, So we always thought people were laughing at us. I tell people all the time, nobody laughs more than me when I speak my language.
Nobody laughs more than you?
More than me when I speak my language. Yeah, see, we all at, we there in the yard, So, but it's something about it. I don't know why, but you gotta laugh when you hear it, you know. So, or say somebody say seed, we say sham, over yonder. Okay, come here, come here, come here. So it is a beautiful, beautiful language. So I do, and I'm fluent. I am. Yes, I am.
Growing up, you said you lived in a Gullah community with like where everyone around you was also Gullah. Is that true?
That's true because where I grew up, you see that mobile home behind you?
Yeah.
That's where I grew up. Not in that mobile home, but in a 5-room structure just like this. That right there is where I grew up. Okay. Now, she raised one child. She didn't have any children. Okay. Before she died, she had her will made up. The will stated, when I die, Louise is to pay off any debt I might have. And after that, everything I own belonged to her. So I inherit this land, all these structures, all the artifacts that I grew up with, I have it. Okay? All of it. And so I guess when God put all that in my hand, I don't know, this calling must have been on all my life. Other than that, I would be in Savannah, Georgia today where my other sister's at. But I am here. And keeping this culture alive, I look at this house all of my life. All of my life. So I think I really have a special assignment.
I think that's so beautiful that you're working so hard to preserve your culture.
Yeah, and it's work.
Yeah.
It is work.
When do you think things started to change? Like, when did, you grew up in a majority Gullah, upbringing. When did you notice that other people who weren't Gullah started to move in?
When the bridge came to Hilton Head. Yep. I mean, people were coming, but then they had to take the ferry, so they probably wasn't as eager to come as when you can drive, and come right on across the bridge. So that's when things start changing, and it changed gradually. Yeah.
So when you mention the cold reception that you get when you sometimes speak your language, can you explain a little more about that?
Getting the what?
A cold reception or people.
Well, because I was doing something that some people didn't want to do, because see, a lot of times when people leave here, they go in the military, they go live in the cities and stuff, and they be there for a while. When they come back, they're all proper. Okay, all right. So I know this one man. He used to be upset with me, but he'd be all right because he was upset, but I had to please God because I know what I had to live with. I had to live with God with this calling on my life, and I had to do my master's will. Okay, so I know he would never compliment me, never. And if he was in my midst, he would have this frown on his face while I was talking. So I had to always look over him or around him, not look in his face, And because he didn't want to speak because he was proper. Okay, so when I started saying, "This is Daddy, show me on the thing," boy, you were embarrassed. I know what was wrong with him, but I said he'd be all right. Because I had to do what I had to do, man. I had to please God. I mean, yeah, but people didn't want to remember when we used to say that. Everybody wanted, and because people say we were speaking broken English, okay, and it was country talk. It was backward. And then they went a little bit further and said, if we keep on speaking that language, you'll never be successful in life, okay? All right, that was a lie. And then the schools were integrated. So now our children have to face people that they have not seen before, and of course, those children are speaking broken English. So you know what the kids went through. So then we end up taking it away from the children. We told the children not to say this or not to say that so they could pass those classes. You understand what I'm saying? Because they had teachers who didn't look like them. So,
Wow. So you talked about almost reclaiming a language, and you said relearning it earlier.
yes, sir.
What was that process like for you?
I had to go back and get it. It's like I had to practice it every day. I would say, how we used to say that now? But it was there, and it will come right back to me because it was here, you know? Yeah, so I had to go back and get it. And and listen, remember my grandmother, how my grandmother would greet you. She would never say hello. It was Huddy, Huddy, yeah. Or if she talking about coming to sit on the porch, she would never say porch, piazza. And she talking about her dress, she never said dress, her frock. She called it frock, And, and fetch him. Fetch, she didn't say bring, fetch. Yeah. So I had to go back and get all my words, Yes, sir. So today, I'm a proud Gullah Geechee black woman. Speak my language. That's right.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna try to do the 23rd Psalms. I'm gonna try to do it because a lot of times I do it with it in front of me. We said, "The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still water. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for His name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for Thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of thy life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." Amen. I don't say amen just yet because I try to translate, okay? And when I translate, I tell people, listen, I talk fast. So keep that in mind because you probably can't follow me. When I say the Lord is my shepherd, I ain't want for nothing. They let me lay down in the green grass, then they lead me beside the still water, and they stir my soul in and lead me down the right road for His name's sake. Do I walk through the valley and shadow of death, I ain't gonna fear no evil because I know God did alongside me. Your rod and staff, the company, nothing fixing up little for me, be all men making sham. Then He give me a highly welcome. Oh, and name my head, the isle, and the foot, and cup till I run over. I believe God love me, God take care of me long as I live, but I ain't going to be with me, I ain't going to step. I'll stay right here in God who's forever.
Amen. 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 That's
I
wonderful.
knew that's talking fast,
Yeah.
but that's how we roll. That's how
it.
we roll. I mean, we talk fast. Now, a bunch of us together. My kids were telling me, this guy from St. Helena, he said on their lunch break, he said the guy have an audience all the time. People follow him because they want to hear it. So that's it.
Wow.
Thank you, Lord, for helping me to do that because I'm so used to having my paper right there because I'm easily distracted, So God is good.
All the time. All the time.
All the time. Amen.
Wow, that's amazing. So, kind of coming back to, you mentioned that your mama, your aunt, she left you everything in her will, and you said you still have artifacts and things from
Everything,
her.
yeah.
So what are some of your favorite things from her that you reflect on or that you look at or that you use often?
Well, today went kind of different because I was going to, this presentation I had planned to do in the tent where I do my regular presentation, and I have my favorites with me. My favorite is the oil lamp, the oil kerosene lamp that we used to use back in the day. Before Palmetto Electric came to Hilton Head with electricity in the early 1950s, I have the oil lamp that provides light in my house.
Wow.
The oil lamp. I have the iron, the smoothing iron that I learned that's how I learned to press my clothes, okay? And then I have things like the washboard and how we had to wash our clothes. No running water, okay? So we have the pump. Right in front of that trailer is the blue trash can that you see over. That's the pump is in disguise. So the hand pump is really there. How we had to pump the water. I have the foot tub in the tent to show people what we had to use to carry water from one spot to the other. Though, and how we preserve our food. No refrigeration back in the day. Our food had to be preserved in the jar. People talk about cannon, we talking about jar, and when you put the okra and tomatoes in the jar, it's cooked and put it on the shelf. So you do that when vegetables and stuff is in the season. Okay, so when the winter months come, you don't have to look for nothing. Okay, you got your food right there. You ain't have to look for nothing. Okay, yeah. So all you had to do, take that jar down and put some bacon in that thing. Okay, and fix some rice.
Yeah.
Okay. Put some shrimps in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shrimps.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
But that's what we had to do to preserve our food. And meat and stuff was cured. Those people used to take the meat and put it on top of the shed. You know, the coon, if they're mullet fish, you dry them over there. Then when you get ready to cook it, put the salt on them because salt was a preserver. Then when you get ready to cook, now you got to take that thing and put it in some water. So you get that salt and stuff out, you pour it off and put some more fresh water on there and get it out. So, man, our people know exactly what to do. They're awesome people. And I mean, they had to know how to survive. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
And talking about all this hunger and homelessness, we didn't have any of that on Hilton Head. Mama had those two houses, those two little migrant houses, we call them back there. Those houses were built to house the migrant workers who used to come to Hilton Head to harvest tomato, squash, and cucumber. Now, that was seasonal. When those people left, those houses was available to anybody that needed a place to stay, okay? And you talking about, so that took care of the homelessness, okay? Now, you talking about hunger. We were never hungry on Hilton Head. God had all kind of berries around here. Okay, you in the woods, on the edge of the woods, you would find blueberry, huckleberry, all them berries, blackberries, mulberry tree. And not only would they provide food, they made wine. Our people made wine, okay? And God did not want me to forget about that. We had fig trees, pears, orange, all these trees, plums in our yard.
Wow.
Never hungry, never. And we feel like seafood, they could make the net, okay? So they make the net.
Made the net.
I got all that stuff in the tent that y'all would have seen.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, handmade. They brought that skill came with them on the boat from Africa, as well as those sweetgrass baskets and stuff. They brought all that with them. So they knew what to do. Okay, Walmart, didn't have no Walmart. We didn't need Walmart.
Right.
That's right. So those people would take those nets and go to the creek, okay? And you didn't have to have a boat to go out, okay? My husband said, stand up on the bluff and throw them in there. You throw that net in that water. And believe me, we had all species of fish around here. All species of fish, okay? But you're gonna come home with fish, shrimp, and crab. That's right. When you throw it out there, it's gonna bring you more than one, or you're gonna get more than one species of fish. Now let me tell you about this one species that we had here, right? So my uncle that would go in the creek, and he'd come back, he'd throw this particular fish away. And he called it a dogfish. Okay. So I went to Maine, okay, a vacation, Maine. So these people had this fish, I saw the fish, this fish was ugly, okay? So I said, oh my God. I said that, but these people, this fish, and they were just talking about how delicious the fish is and stuff. I look at the fish, I said, oh no, this is that dogfish that Dewey used to throw away. It's a moundfish, y'all. Moundfish. I came back home, I tasted that moundfish up there. I came back home and I've been buying moundfish ever since. I said, I know if my uncle could get up on that grave and get them fish, he'd go get every one he throw away. Yeah, I'm talking about dogfish. You know dogfish.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna transition away from, I guess, your family specifically, and move over to Hilton Head history generally. And, we were just spending some time at Mitchellville. We had been over there. Do you know, I guess, or what do you know about Mitchellville? Did you always know about it? Have you
I
heard
did
of
not
it?
know anything about Mitchellville until about 1996 when we had the first Gullah celebration. That's when Mitchellville was exposed to me. I don't know about the other people. That's when my first time I heard, because people never talk about it. It was then, after that, that I heard about my family, how my family escaped. In fact, when they were brought here, brought from Africa, they came through Charleston, South Carolina, which that's where Sullivan Island is. And then back then, when they brought our people here, they had to be quarantined. And from the quarantine area to the auction block into somebody's plantation. Okay, so my folks was enslaved on Edisto Island. And a lot of those people that had the slaveholders that had plantations, a lot of them had more than one. So that's when families were split, okay? So my family was split from Edisto Island, okay? And I had a cousin who was a historian who went back there. And sure enough, they're there with the same names and stuff. Howard Wright was his name. Howard said, Louise, they look just like us. We look just like them, but they don't know us and we don't know them. That is really, really sad, you know? But they were split and taken to Rose Hill Plantation, okay? That's where he escaped from, because I heard that my great-great-grandfather was a driver on that plantation. He escaped in the boat, the little battle, okay? They could build those, okay? So that's how they escaped. But he escaped with his wife and 3 children, okay? Now, they had a problem when they made that plan, okay? The youngest of the 3 was between 2 and 3 years old. Well, she decided she want to cry. And you know that was bad news. So anyway, they said that he was a tall guy, heavy voice, and speaking our language, a lot of times you don't hear the whole name. Okay, we shorten names. Like, my name is Louise. Not one of my cousins on my dad's side called me Louise. Everybody say Weeze, you know? So her name was Moriah, but he did not call her Moriah. He called her Raya. So he tell her, Raya, throw that gal overboard. Because they could not make her stop crying, okay? So I guess God spoke to her and tell her what to do. So instead of throwing the baby overboard, she put the baby in her bosom with the baby's head to her chest, and she folded her arm on that baby's head and press it and muffled the cry. And they made that journey, rowing that boat all the way from Rose Hill to Mitchellville. And you know, I went to Mitchellville about 2 weeks ago, just looking at the water. And it's like, I just had a vision of all those boats and battles coming from all different directions, trying to get to Mitchellville so they could be free. My people was among them, okay?
Wow.
So not only Cesar and Moriah Jones, but then they told the story of how they got here. And Cesar said when he got here, he just didn't sit down. He volunteered to join up with the Union Army, okay? And when he was given the opportunity to purchase land, he bought over 125 acres of land.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Some of the land is still in the family today, okay? And that baby that almost got thrown overboard, I'm so grateful to God that he told that baby's mama what to do. Because had she listened to her husband and throw that baby overboard, I would not be talking to you today, because that baby is my great-grandmother.
Wow.
Amy Jones Miller, okay? And my other great-grandfather, he did not tell the whole story, because he said when he was growing up on Ladies Island, and I'm so glad, and you know, God is just awesome, because they was denied that privilege of being able to read and write. But God allowed them to tell their story to the officers. He wrote it. And today, their descendants can read it. So that's how I found out what happened with my great-grandfather, because the officer wrote his story. And he said, growing up as a child, his job was to herd the hogs and the cows. So he didn't go to school. He didn't say how he got to Hilton Head. He said when he got to Hilton Head. He met an older man that had a pass to sell oysters and berries to the soldiers. He borrowed that man's pass. But that pass did not say William Simmons. That pass said Ira Sherman. So he borrowed that man's pass, and that's what he presented to the officers, okay? So I'm glad that I heard that before I went to Washington to look for his name, because it's not there. I went to the wall to look for William Simmons, and it's not there. I saw Ira Sherman, though, and I could put my hand on it, and I knew that he was so happy about that. So he said when he was given the opportunity to purchase land, he purchased 15 acres of land on Gumtree Road. I am happy to tell you that's where we are today, on this land that he purchased, okay? This part of the land was onto it. His great-grandson was working for somebody that took advantage of him, okay? So that's how this land is gone, okay?
Wow.
Yeah. So I know my great-great-granduncle, grandfather, I know he's smiling because I talk about him at every presentation. But I gotta talk about him. He bought this land, he was looking out for me. But you know what? And this is why I say our people were such spiritual people, because when you look at Proverbs 13 and 22, it says a good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children. That's what our people did, y'all. That's what they did. They were looking out for us. And I'm so appreciative, you know, and I'm all upset with the other people when they want, sell them, sell that land, we ain't coming back. What you mean? But anyway, I can't worry about them. I got to do what I do with what God put in my hands. Because he told me, he said, look what is in your hands. What is in your hand? So that's all I'm trying to do. So you now you see why my daddy had to bring me back to Hilton Head?
That's good.
Because it was a mission for this baby.
That's right.
So now I'm asking him, okay, Lord, I'm asking for long life and good health.
Amen.
And I need some help. He's sending to help me. Yeah, because this is a lot of work. You can't do all this work by yourself. Too much.
You heard about that? So we talked a little bit about some of your Gullah cultural traditions. You know, you say, you know, frequently I'm getting like a self-sufficient lifestyle. So, you know, you would grow things, you would catch things yourselves, you know.
Yeah, and they were builders too. So they made their own bateau, as we call it, okay? Well, they say it's a French word, B-A-T-E-A-U. But you know, we speak Gullah, so we talk fast. We say bateau, you know?
Bateau.
Yeah. Yeah, but they made their own. Yeah, they their own house. Man, these were carpenters and stuff. This is it's a man that lived on the road, that used to live on the road. His children are on the property now. They say he was a carpenter. They say he was so skilled until when he got through building the house, there wasn't no extra lumber left over.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So our people are awesome, awesome, awesome people. Awesome. And every chance I get them to tell them, man, y'all did good. You really did. No education. You know what I'm saying? You did good. You did good.
Wow. And you mentioned your great grandfather and mother, Cesar and Moriah Miller. Miller?
No, Jones.
Jones. Okay.
Yeah, see, so my great grandmother is the Miller because she was married to a Miller.
Okay.
So her name is Amy Jones Miller.
Amy Jones Miller.
Miller. So the Millers on the Fusky are related to us. I heard about that growing up. And then after I really started looking into it, one brother, Gilbert Miller, he came to Hilton Head. And that one married my great-grandmother.
Wow.
Marshall Miller went to the Fusky Island. So we are close kin to the people on the Fusky Island, the Millers.
Wow.
Yeah. So see, but you got to research and know that and then pass it on to the children. Other than that, people be marrying their cousins and stuff, you know, because they don't know.
They don't know.
You know? Yeah.
Can you tell me more about the storytelling heritage in your culture? I remember you said I've heard you say talking about your mother telling stories just as she goes along. Like I heard the story about her seeing a bird and saying like, this bird is saying something to the other
Yeah.
bird.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to think about it because coming up, she would tell me stories. They tell you what the horse said and all the stuff. So this bird, it would be like late evening. The bird would be out there singing, and then she told me because we didn't have no TVs and stuff back then to keep children busy. So she told me that the bird said, and then I heard the bird, so I recorded the bird one day, right? I recorded this bird. So and then I turned around and played the recording because the birds was late in the evening, and they call him a chickawilla. That was the Gullah name for a chickawilla. So the bird would say, "Sit, pick hell out the window, pick hell out the window." That's what Mama told me the bird say. So I record this thing, right? And I listened to the bird. I said, "Man, bird, you ain't got nothing on me because I sound just like you, But you know what was so awesome? One night I was doing storytelling down in Sea Pines, and that's the north part of Hilton Head. And so I was talking about the bird, and man, the bird actually came over the shed and started singing her song. That was awesome. I said, "Oh God, that is God." I'm telling you. Yeah, but we hear all kind of stories. Mama told me this story one time that well, of course you know how when our people was in slavery, how they was treated. But the slaves, they had a way to get back at those people, And so this boy named Johnny, well, he was one that he would attempt to escape. So they will always give him a hard time. So one day, say, Master tell him, go, Johnny, boy, go and get me a coon. How you gonna get a coon and he don't have no gun to shoot the coon? Boy, I said, you better bring a coon back here. So he went to Matilda, who was cooking in the kitchen, crying. She said, what's wrong with you? She said, no. She said, boy, what him? Because we didn't say what's wrong. He said, what him? Boy, what him? Said, Master said, I better get a coon. But he want a coon and he ain't give me nothing to kill him. Boy, how you gonna kill a coon and he ain't got no gun? I didn't know. But he knew that was a beating for him. So she told him what to do. Boy, look here. And Rover there behind you? Yeah. Carry over. And when you come back, I'll cook myself some coon. So the boy carried the dog, bring him back, and boy, she cooked that dog. She cooked her over, and boy, but see, that was something for them to rejoice over. You understand? Because you treating this boy bad. Now, we done plan and plot. We done got over on you. So anyway, when Master finished eating, say he stand up on the porch, scraping the plate, right? And he calling the dog. Yo, Rover, yo, Rover, man. So that night, they went down in the woods, because see, that's what they do. They would go down in the woods late at night. And boy, they had a shout and say, oh, you done eat Rover meat, you done suck Rover bone, now you stand up on the switch called yo, Rover, yo, Rover. Man, they shout on that. He done eat the dog. And our people had to do what they had to do.
That's good.
Yeah, yes, sir. So those were the stories that but it is awesome, y'all. That's all I can say. Awesome life.
So, how's your, wow. This has been so amazing. So
Okay, and winding down because I got a meeting.
that's okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can wind on that. We're gonna ask. I only have I think a couple of more questions
Okay.
here.
Descendants.
Yeah. Yeah. So how has your family reacted to your work preserving?
Now,
Mhm.
I think they are very, very proud. They are very, very proud now that the Lord, but that's in the word that God said the first would be last and the last would be first. The bottom rail will come up to the top. That is exactly what God is doing with this culture. And now my family are so proud. I mean, when somebody say Louise Cohen, oh, that's my auntie. Oh, that's my cousin. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because of what God has done. Because we are his people. We are his people. And you know what? How did our people, how they develop this language? That is awesome what they did. With this, take this English, these English words. You know what I'm saying? And cut what they want to cut off, chop it off, and make something out of it, because it's an English-based Creole language. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be an awesome people to be able to do that. Come up with your own so you can communicate, because you have to think now about our people being brought together on these plantations from different tribes. Not speaking each other's language, but man, we're going to come up with something that we're going to make ours? What? That's awesome. Yes, it is. So all I'm doing is keeping it alive. That's all I'm doing. That's it.
That's right. Oh, sorry. What are some traditional Gullah Geechee foods that you may have eaten or learned to eat?
Oh, well,
Or learned to cook?
I still cook that good old shrimps and okra, boy.
Shrimp and okra.
And throw that neck bone in it.
Throw neck bone in it?
Put that neck bone in there, boy. I tell you. Hammock. Oh, yeah, put that hammock in there. Yes, sir. We still cook the peas and rice. All right. Still cook. Never a dull moment right here. But yeah, and with collard greens and stuff, we still cook that greens. They ain't right if you ain't got some collard greens. Yes, sir. Bread pudding and all that, sweet potato pie. But see, our people, the bread pudding, that was something a little bit different. But sweet potato pie and potato poon is what our people used to use, potato poon. You know, it's nothing but potatoes, you know, and the spices and stuff that make it good. So yeah, we still do that.
Wow.
And don't forget about that lima beans and stuff like that, because we had to cook what we had. Yeah.
So, mentioning the food, you ever heard of Hoppin' John by chance? Hoppin' John.
That's what they call it. They call it Hoppin' John. I used to peas and rice.
Peas and rice? Yes, ma'am. That's
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
It's the
same thing.
Yes, ma'am. I just want to know, because I know about Hoppin' John and peas and
Yeah,
rice.
it's the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So see, we don't acknowledge the H now. We drop the R's and H. And a lot of other words, the letters.
Yes.
Once we drop it, then change the word.
Yes.
And so like, thank you. We don't say thank you, we say thank you. But we drop the H, okay?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
this is or thing. You don't say thing, we say ting.
Yes,
What that thing is? Where that thing going?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Another one, like the turtle, right? You know the one that crawl around. What we call him? Huh?
Coulda.
Coulda.
Right.
Why we that coulda going? Yeah, that's right, coulda. So how we gonna find it? We track the coulda, right? So the coulda go up underneath the house. So if his trail went here, we gonna go on the other side. If we didn't see that trail on the other side, that coulda still underneath the house. But you still need to, if you want, somebody gonna crawl underneath you and get you. We gonna kill that coulda and cook him. Shit, you stay ready. Well, cook him. What? Well, I tell you, we ain't been hungry again. All right, that's right.
Yes, ma'am. But another one of my questions are: do you know anything about root work or chewing roots?
Huh?
Chewing on roots.
Oh, I hear about that root boy.
I just want to know if you heard any stories about it, or
I hear about the root and how to take the salt and throw them behind people if you ain't want to come back to your house. Yeah.
yes.
If you ain't want them to come back to your house, you throw the salt behind them and they leave. Yeah.
Yes.
I've been things like or if the black cat will run across the road and you got bad luck, so instead of you going where you going, you turn around. Man, black cat doesn't run across that road. I ain't going.
I ain't going.
Not today.
Oh my God. I ain't stood that black cat. He can run across that road all he want. I'm going if I gotta go. Dog, if I'm gonna go, turn around and go all back. What? For what? Because a lot of that stuff is superstitious, you know. Yeah.
And what about, you say earlier you talked about, self-sufficiency. How are like illnesses treated or like disease?
Okay, I'm gonna answer this one. I gotta go because I got to go to another meeting. We had herbs, and our people know the herbs. If you got a cold, cough, or flu, we had something around here that grows. It used to be in the ditches, in the woods, called Life Everlasting. Okay, Life Everlasting is no joke. You get if you have that thought, act like you want to get sore, you boil that Life Everlasting, and now that we got honey, we ain't got to put no rock candy in it, okay? and for the older people now, that they would do that stuff and give it to you, that thing was bitter, okay? But so you put some honey and sweeten it up a little bit now, and put some lemon in it. But then we had something they called moonshine. Boy, you put some of that moonshine in that thing. What? Shit, you drink them, cold cough, heat them up.
Heat 'em up.
Cold cough and flu said, bye-bye, we can't deal with y'all. I'm serious, and it worked. It worked.
Life everlasting.
Yeah, Life Everlasting. Yes, sir. And it grows. See, on Hilton Head now it's scarce. But like you go off this island, like I'm in Ridgeland and the area, and you see it, get it. They tell my mother, Louise, they'll put you in jail for that. Put me in jail for what?
Yeah.
What? Yes, sir. And I boil it. I always have some in my house. Yes, sir. But that's one of the herbs. But our people knew the herbs of that grew. I mean, for diarrhea and stuff, they used to dig up blackberry root and boil it. And there's trees that would grow like those ones right there. We used to call that's some what's sumac? We call it shoemaker root. Those people would dig that thing there up, and shoemaker root and some holly bush, pine top. They would boil that stuff together for cold and cough. Another thing, when they used to kill hogs and stuff around here, they would get the 55-gallon drum and put put all that hot water. I mean that water get hot. Put some of that pine thing in there, because that what cleaned the hog hair off. And that hog, when people clean that hog, I mean, it'd be beautiful, pretty, and white. It was something about the gum, I guess, out that tree. Plus, if you got backache, you could take your axe and they call it box the tree. Box the tree, you're taking a slice out of it and then let that sap drain. And all you have to do, go there with your spoon and take some flour and put it on and make you little pills. They call it pine gum pills for black backache. But that's how we live. That's just a few.
Yeah, just a few things.
If your kids got wingworm, go right to the fig tree, pop off one of those limbs, a leaf. There's a leaf off there. That milk, that come put that on the wingworm and see what's gonna happen. But that's how we survive. That's how we make it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What they wanted to do was kind of recreate what Mitchellville would have looked like. And so that's what we